Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. It is Friday. Yay for Friday, for those of you that it matters. I'm back, still in the purple shirt, persisting through October against people that say it's ugly, or just to remind you in a physical sense that no matter what, you have to persist, persist, persist in all of your beliefs and creating the life of your dreams. Against people saying no, against your own brain telling you no, it's too hard, you're not good enough, whatever. This is it. So for all of October, I'll be wearing it, and then I will get to change it. Or not, but I will change it because I'm getting tired of it. And that's sort of what happens when you start rebuilding your belief systems, by the way. It gets exhausting. Like if you're doing the sleep affirmations for 30 nights, it gets a little exhausting and you're like, oh, like another night. And then you keep persisting through it, and then it gets easier. Um, it's just human nature. Sometimes we want to give up right before we're at that point to recreate what it is we want. So please like and subscribe. I like to share here my own spiritual journey, my own time I spend chitter chattering with my guides and learning about different things. I will not bash anybody else's channel or say like none of the other people know this stuff. I'm the only one who's doing this. I have a different perspective, so do they, and you can learn something from every area. And I think everybody has something to teach you, and why not want to absorb what works for you and just leave the rest. If it resonates with your soul and it feels good, go with it. If it makes you feel scared or overwhelmed or whatever, hi Ankur, then leave it. So I wanted to talk about because some really interesting things have happened to me, like in the last week and a half, where I'm like, oh, yeah. And I'll tell you about them, their psychic experiences. But it's to show you that if you have an SP that you're in no contact with, it doesn't matter. You don't have to make yourself known, and you don't have to be like, making little comments or tagging them or stalking them, because energetically the energy is there. It gets put out there. And this is from my psychic experiences that I can share with you. And it's not because I'm special. The energy would go out there anyway. I just happen to be aware of it. Okay. I'm sensitive to it. I get the smaller energies, but so this very interesting thing happened. When my grandmother passed away, my uncle had been living with her, and he stayed in the home. And I have not had any contact with him for many, 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 many years. Not important why. I just haven't. We're not that kind of a family. But it was interesting because at least 4 years ago, I'm not sure on the timing, because it was a weird dream, so I didn't really put much to it. But I had this dream that I was walking around my grandmother's house. I was in my grandmother's house, and like some of her furniture was there, but not all of it. And then there was like this random ugly furniture, and sorry for judging this choice in furniture. I just think it's personally ugly, and just also not in line with the style of my grandmother's house. My grandmother has a lot of old, they're not hers anymore. She's not embodied. A lot of old antique stuff that belonged to my grandfather's family. So it's a lot of the scrolled carved wood, dark, heavy wood. They were, handmade type stuff, not factory assembled. And a lot of stuff that belonged to a lot of old family stuff. So I saw some of her furniture, like her chair and whatever. And I remember looking around and being like, why is there so many couches and like in a weird formation? And why is there a camping chair here? And from the dream. And I remember, I think I told somebody about the dream, but I think it was one of my sisters. So I know this has been a long time since I had this dream. And remember being able to see my grandmother's clothes and look at my grandmother's clothes and things, but not being able to fully see them or not being able to manipulate them. And my cousin, who is staying there, took me on like a video walk through the house, because I hadn't seen the house since probably 2003. I hadn't been in my grandmother's house for 5 years before she passed. She passed in 2008. And I am not kidding, where it was so emotional doing the walkthrough, just seeing all the little, when you go through memories and things, it's not really the big things that get you. It's like the little weird memories, like these little kaleidoscopes she had, and like um, these big wooden chunky necklaces she had, and this big like pendant, or I don't know, not a pendant, brooch. Just like different things where I was like, oh, that's her furniture. We used to go into that cabinet and we'd take all of her makeup samples when we'd go visit. And my grandmother's home was a very safe place for me. So she just always made me, I always felt safe being there. So it was a very emotional experience. I was like crying, and it wasn't until after like we had to hang up and go because I had to take care of my children. That's what happens when you have 3 kids. So um, afterwards, I realized I had had this dream about this experience and going through it and thinking how weird, and telling my sister how weird that there was this like camping chair in the middle of this room. I think it was my sister I told this experience into, and it was just weird, and like and the big ugly couch that didn't fit, and I was like, it was just weird, but I had a dream about this. So my point is the energy is always out there. So if you're manifesting an SP and they're no contact, you don't have to worry about whether or not they're going to get the energy. They're going to get it. Also, last week, what happened was I was doing a reading. It was the very beginning of the reading. You can go back and watch this in the readings. And someone wanted to know about contacting their son. So I actually need to contact this person and ask them to come back and try and read it again. And I kept seeing this person and this energy and all of this information. And my cousin, who has very, very short hair and not uber feminine energy, was like, we were talking the next day. She's like, I had to get off of the feed because I think you were picking up on my energy. And then like 2 days later, I saw her in the shirt that I saw this person wearing in my mind's eye or whatever. So she's now banned from watching my lives. But the point being is, you can connect with energy whether or not you're physically talking to them, whether or not you're physically in contact with them, or whatever. You can connect to these people and jobs and everything else. Your thoughts go out there. The interconnections are there. So if you've already had a relationship with somebody, I guess this is, let me draw this. How I sort of was shown this as being, so you have like a visual. So it's almost like a sun with rays. Okay, so imagine it that we are, I know, crappy drawing, but this is what you get when you have me working on the fly. If this is the energy of the divine universe, right? And we are all connected in directly through imaginary cords, imagine it, right? And and energy can pulse through them. Like, think about like the way Ethernet cords work, right? It's in the center of them that the energy pulses through there, um, like a straw. When you're putting that energy out there and that intention out there, and now you're saying like, I am safe, I'm stable, I'm secure, I am chosen, and you're sort of sending that intention, especially with you're wanting to manifest the SP. You're not trying to manipulate them, but you're sending out new energy about who you are and what you deserve. That person's still interconnected with you, and they still have a very tight source with you. And you don't have to be like, I'm doing this to manipulate them, because that's not the way it works. But if you're like, I am safe, I am secure, I'm stable, they still have access to your energy. They may not be aware of it. You may not be aware of all of that's happening, but it's still there. So this idea that it's not possible to recreate a relationship with somebody that you used to have a relationship with it's not that complex, and it's absolutely possible. You just have to persist to reprogram your thoughts about how you view you, so that when they come back, you start from a healthier standpoint, and you start from a healthier space of being emotionally secure, and being sure of who you are and confident of who you are. You don't have to be confident to manifest them back into your life, because the energy is interconnected, right? You don't have to be 100% perfect or whatever. But if you're not, then when your own insecurities bubble up, which are false, when those come up, good morning, Kay, then it's not going to be, you're going to keep doing that roller coaster ride again of having to reprogram. So take the time to be by yourself. It's not because you're playing a game, but to where you just focus on you and you heal you. Same thing if you're trying to manifest a job. That It's all energy. Everything's energy. Like if you ever took a physics class, solid things are all energy. They're just slower moving, but it's all energy. We're all made up of the same thing. Um, uh, Air moves a little bit faster and there's a little bit more space between them, but everything is energy, is energy, is energy. So a job position in a company is energy. If you want that job, just decide, I want that job. It's coming to me. I'm sending the energy out in the universe, and they're going, oh, look, it's a great match. This is what's going to happen. If you want money, money is energy. If you want clients, clients are energy. So I send out there that like, oh, people just know and they're attracted to my energy and they know I'm the best fit for teaching them. And so they come and find me. It becomes a direct match. It's sort of like YouTube algorithms, Facebook algorithms, all the algorithms for social media, the algorithms for dating apps and things like that. You're sending out there. So the universe is going, these are the best matches. Here's what it is. And if you're sending it out for a specific person, a specific job, a specific amount, a specific house, whatever, it gets put out there in the universe. You don't have to worry about it. It just happens. So if you've ever had that experience where you've had, a lot of people call it deja vu, but it's not. They're precognitive dreams where dreams happen that are coming true. You're tapping into that energy. Everything has already happened. We're sort of on the replay for it, right? So you're tapping into that energy and aligning with it, and you're getting information about it. I believe we connect with people in the ethers in our dreams. We're all interconnected. Just because we can't necessarily see ourselves here doesn't mean, like in the physical plane, doesn't mean that we're not all interconnected. So bringing back an SP is 1,000% possible, especially if you've broken up and you're like, oh, we're no contact for months or even years. Hello, look at J-Lo and Ben Affleck. It's all possible, but it really does come down to if you want to keep it and you want a healthy relationship, because who doesn't want a healthy relationship? It doesn't mean issues don't come up, but it means that you're able to handle them better and you both do them. If you're both coming from a healthy mindset, which you attract what you are, right? Then, and people mirror what you are, then it's easier to work through those issues. Something else I was gonna say. I was watching a Brittany Murphy documentary on HBO Max last night. Plus, whatever the fuck it is. Sorry, whatever it is. One of those streaming things, plus Max, whatever. And it was really sad. And this is how you're like, well, how can you manifest one thing but another? You have a bigger story around it. So that's why you do the self-concept stuff and like focusing on, you don't look at triggers as being a bad thing, or at least I don't look at triggers as being a bad thing or and I think I talked about this yesterday, experiences that are a little bit rough as a bad thing anymore. I look at them like, instead of going like in the victim state of like, oh, why me? Why is this always happening? I go, oh, thanks. Now I know where I need to refine or where I'm still having a limited belief to release that. I listened to this really interesting, because my algorithm in YouTube is all about like manifesting and spiritual stuff. And that's like kind of what happens is because of the stuff I'm interested in. That's what gets sent to me. And this woman was talking about this really beautiful story, how she passed, but she was sort of in this in-between world and she was learning about energy and she was talking about forgiveness. And I thought this was really cool because it's kind of goes along with my theory that I was shown by my guides about how we're like water faucets. And if someone's thinking negatively about themselves, the closest, easiest faucet or to obtain water from to obtain that energy from will turn on. So if you're heavily interconnected with somebody and they're feeling bad about themselves, you may randomly start having negative thoughts about them, sends them that energy that they're sort of attracting, and then it attaches to them. Well, this woman said what she learned was when you're angry with someone, it was like she was kind of doing like a life review. And the hardest thing, she goes, I thought I was going to see all these really bad things, but what I was shown was, say somebody, like even a complete stranger has like you have a negative interaction with them and you think, oh, what a jerk, whatever. You send them like a little energy bubble, little like energy thing, and it attaches to them to like reaffirm that negativity that they are. And you're sort of get that same thing back. So this morning I was going through and going, okay, I'm going to forgive everybody because I don't want everybody to have that negativity attached to them, because like, I don't want to be mean to anybody. And those feelings and that negative stuff came up because I was hurt. So like I wanted to like release that and release that from them and release it from me. So I was going through a whole list of like even random strangers. I was like, all right, I can't remember every random stranger I've had a negative thought towards who wasn't polite or whatever. So I'm releasing that, and I started going through, and I thought, gosh, there is a lot of people, because 43 years of experiences. So maybe think about that too, is like as you're going through and you're connecting with that, that, or you're wanting to connect with that SP, forgive them too. Forgive them that they didn't know better. Forgive them that they showed up in that way. Forgive them that it wasn't easy. Forgive the past bosses that you've worked with that kind of stunk. That also helps you release and let go. All right, so I have a client in a few minutes. If there's no questions at all, I'm going to go. I hope this was helpful in clearing up why it's 1,000% possible to attract back an SP in your life. And that's coming from my perspective of, yes, you should persist. Yes, you should work on self-concept. But from a psychic standpoint,